Charles IV, King of Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor, had a long and successful reign. The empire he ruled from Prague expanded, and his subjects lived in peace and prosperity. When the emperor died, the whole empire mourned. More than 7,000 people accompanied him on his last procession. The heir to the throne of the flourishing empire was Charles's son, Wenceslas IV, whose father had prepared him for this moment all his life. But Wenceslas did not take after his father. He neglected affairs of state for more frivolous pursuits. He even failed to turn up for his own coronation as emperor, which did little to endear him to the Pope. Wenceslas the Idle did not impress the imperial nobility either. His difficulties mounted until the nobles, exasperated by the inaction of their ruler, turned for help to his half-brother, King Sigismund of Hungary. Sigismund decided on a radical solution. He kidnapped the king to force him to abdicate, then took advantage of the ensuing disorder to gain greater power for himself. He invaded Bohemia with a massive army and began pillaging the territories of the king's allies. It is here that my story begins.
God bless. Same to you. Today's a scorcher.
Well, husband, how goes it?
Good. I should get it finished today. Where on earth is Henry? I need him to run some errands.
He was still sleeping when I went out.
At this hour? Blue-blooded idler.
Well, it looks like he was out all evening, drinking like a lord.
Go and get the lazy bones up then. Quick clout round the ear should do it.
Mm-hmm. Henry! Get up now. There's work to be done.
Mother. Get up or I'll come get you up, you slugabed.
Hear that? You'd better not vex him. Now get up quick. Your breakfast is on the table. Wait, what's this? Have you been... Oh, Henry. How many times have I told you about fighting?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just a scratch.
You've been at that sword play again, haven't you? You'd better pray your father doesn't get to hear of it. You know how he feels about it.
Oh, don't worry, it wasn't that. I just scratched myself is all.
Well, just don't come crying to me if you really do get hurt. Now get up, you rogue. A fine state you're in this morning. What on earth did you get up to last night?
Henry had no idea what lay ahead. The road before him was a mystery. He couldn't have predicted what was coming. No one could. But deep down, he yearned for something more than the quiet rhythm of village life. He craved adventure, not out of naivety, but out of a restless hunger to live beyond the walls of Skalitz. And he wasn't blind to the world's unrest. War loomed like a gathering storm on the horizon, and Henry, though still untested, was doing what he could to prepare. His heart beat with the urgency of a man who knew change was coming. He just didn't know how soon. When Henry's mother asked what he was up to the night before, it seems like a simple question, but beneath it lies a subtle choice that will shape the man he's about to become. He hesitates, considering the weight of possibility. The truth is, his answer will nudge the course of his future. Not drastically, but just enough to define how his journey begins. He considers his options: strength, vitality, agility, or the art of persuasion. In the end, Henry decides that words are his sharpest weapon. If he's to carve a path through what lies ahead, it'll be with his tongue as much as his sword. He chooses speech, not because it's the easiest route, but because sometimes talking your way out of trouble is more powerful than brute force.
Nothing much. Me and the lads were just having a chat in the tavern. Some wayfarer stopped by. He was telling us what's going on in the world and, I lost track of time.
Well, I hope he didn't fill your head with nonsense. Well, I've got a feeling there's something you're not telling me. And it's connected with that scratch on your hand. And that suspicious-looking character with a sword who turned up in town recently.
When the choice arose a second time, Henry didn't waver. If anything, he leaned in further, doubling down on the path he'd begun to carve for himself. He knew now that the right words, spoken at the right time, could open doors that force might only break. This wasn't just a preference anymore, it was a principle. In a world plunged into war, where survival often depended on quick thinking and quicker tongues, Henry resolved to make speech his weapon of choice. He wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but with a silver tongue and a sharp mind, he could navigate the storm ahead with cunning rather than sheer muscle.
You think he's teaching me sword fighting, don't you? What use would that be to me? Here. I'm not lying to you, Ma.
All right, then, if you say so. I don't mean to pry, but you know your father takes a dim view of such things.
Did Matthew and Fritz come looking for me?
No, I haven't seen them this morning. They shouldn't be hard to find. They'll be hanging around a tavern somewhere, as usual.
Henry was no fool. He knew deep down that there was some truth to what his mother was saying. He decided not to push it.
Oh, not this again. Leave it lie, Mother. Is Father angry with me for sleeping late?
He's not happy. Yesterday you promised him you'd help finish that sword for Sir Radzig. He's not as young as he was, and you know how his joints pain him. He's too proud to complain, but he needs your help, Henry.
I know. Don't worry, Ma. Of course I'll help him.
Good. He always says his knees ache when there's a storm coming. I hope they're wrong this time. It's looking like such a nice day.
And with that, it was time to return to the forge, to help his father craft a blade worthy of a nobleman. Not just any nobleman, but Sir Radzig Kobyla himself, lord of their lands and a man of great repute. Though Henry longed for more than the heat of the smithy and the clang of hammer on steel, he couldn't deny a certain pride in the work. There was something honest in it, something grounding. He may have dreamed of distant horizons, but he already had skill in his hands and fire in his blood. The life of a blacksmith wasn't a cage, it was a foundation, and on that foundation, he would build something far greater.
Come here, I need your help. At least you're up, that's a start. Anyway, we've a lot of work to do today. I'm finishing the sword for Sir Radzig, and I need your help.
With what?
I'm running out of charcoal. Run to the market and buy a bag from the charcoal burner.
I'll need some money then.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Kunesh still owes me for an axe, a hammer, and the nails I sold him a month ago. Not to mention his debt from before. Go and tell him to pay up, at least for the axe and hammer, and then use the money to buy the charcoal.
Kunesh, that drunkard. That'll be fun.
Well, you're a big lad now. I'm sure you can manage. If not, tell him that next time I'll come myself and personally use that hammer to bang those nails into his arse.
Sure he'll be happy to hear it. Is that all?
Not quite. The Chamberlain at the castle has the crossguard for Sir Radzig's sword, which I had engraved in Sasau.
You want me to go and pick it up? Alright. Money, charcoal, crossguard. Got it.
And ale. Stop off at the tavern on your way home. I know you'll be going there anyway to see that girl of yours. But make sure the ale's still cool from the cellar when you get back.
Her name is Bianca.
Right, so make sure Bianca draws me a nice cool one. Run along now, work won't wait.
Henry set off without a word of complaint, ready to carry out his father's tasks for the day. Errands that all led back to a single purpose, finishing the sword for Sir Radzig. There was work to be done, and he didn't mind. The weight of responsibility sat easily on his shoulders that morning. Besides, the road to town held more than just chores. Waiting there was Bianca, his girl, and his reason to smile, even on the most tiresome of days. Just the thought of seeing her made the journey worthwhile, a small reward tucked between the grind of the day. But first, his responsibilities.
God be with you, Kunesh.
What do you want?
My father sent me to get the coin you owe him for the axe, hammer and nails.
I've got nothing. Clear off.
You know you owe father for a lot more than just the axe and hammer. If he went to the bailiff about it, you'd be in deep water. At least pay for the tools if you can't pay for everything.
I told you I have no coin, you bastard. Get the hell out of here, or I'll use the axe on you.
Henry's first real test of persuasion began on the doorstep of a surly drunk named Kunesh, a man well known in Skalitz, not for his wisdom or charm, but for his debts and his drinking. Henry approached him with civility, offering respect where little was due. But Kunesh, bitter and belligerent as always, met Henry's cordial tone with nothing but scorn. Henry could have threatened him, could have let his fists do the talking, but that wasn't his way. Not yet. For now, Henry held firm in his belief that words could win where force might only escalate. It was a small encounter, but it marked the beginning of something bigger. It was a small encounter, but it marked the beginning of something bigger. The long road of learning when to speak softly and when to sharpen the edge.
Look, I know things aren't easy. Your wife ran off, booze is dear these days, and you're as much use as a square wheel. It's no wonder you're short of coin. But a debt's a debt, and I can't leave here without something.
If I had anything to give, I'd give it. But I've got nothing. So leave me in peace, all of you. And don't come back.
Henry gave Kunesh an honest chance. He asked politely, hoping the man might see reason. But reason had long since fled Kunesh's mind, drowned somewhere in the bottom of a mug. With the man refusing to budge, Henry was left with little choice. He'd have to find another way. The situation may not have called for bloodshed, but it did call for a bit of intrigue. Henry wasn't about to return to his father empty-handed.
A locked chest. I'll need a lockpick to get into that. Fritz might have one.
With Kunesh's stubbornness leaving no room for reason, Henry turned to someone a little more unconventional. Fritz, his loyal, if slightly reckless friend, was never far when trouble needed a helping hand. If there was anyone in Skalitz who could get their hands on a few lockpicks without raising eyebrows, it was him. Fritz wasn't exactly the picture of responsibility, but he had a knack for getting what others couldn't, or wouldn't. And Henry, though not a thief by trade, was beginning to understand that sometimes the straight path wasn't always the one that got you where you needed to go.
You can't be serious, Deutsch. Insulting our king.
What insult? I say only the truth. Sigismund has done only what he had to.
He had to abduct the king. He had to lure his cousin Prokop into a trap and imprison him. He had to invade with his army of Tatars and besiege Gutenberg.
Why not? What is this Wenceslas for a king? The empire is falling asunder in his hands. The German counts elected Ruprecht of the Palatinate as king because your Wenceslas would not go to their deeds even.
German counts. Traitors.
Now even the Pope
God be with you, Henry.
I'm with you, Matthew. What's going on here?
Deutsch is spouting shit.
What?
Just listen and you'll hear for yourself.
Someone has to bring order and reunite the empire.
What do I care about the Austrians? And nowadays, not even the devil himself can keep up with all the popes. Which is the rightful pope? The one in Rome or the one in Avignon?
Do not blaspheme, Alex.
No, it's true, though. Wenceslas is the king of Bohemia. Bohemian nobles are on his side. To hell with Rosenberg and his cabal. Sir Radzig is Wenceslas' commander-in-chief. He stayed loyal to the king. And if he heard you talking like this, he would have you whipped like a dog.
Your Diet will soon have nothing left to rule. Jobst had to sell Luxembourg to help your king. South Bohemia is with Sigismund
and don't forget about Gutenberg, where Germans like you kissed Sigismund's feet to keep their heads.
Yes, but...
Goodman Deutsch, this is pointless. Let us talk of more pleasant things.
My words exactly.
Deutsch has gone too far. Wenceslas is our rightful king.
Deutsch is an idiot. But what can you do?
I might have an idea. Deutsch deserves to be taught a lesson. Doesn't he, Fritz?
You're too right, Matthew. Should give him a proper hiding.
Are you mad? Do you want to end up in the pillory?
Don't listen to Fritz. I've got a better idea. Deutsch was talking such shit, it made me think of that huge parliament. You know, the one right next to his freshly whitewashed house.
You think we should redecorate for him? Count me in.
Well, I'd rather torch it, to be honest. But throwing some tears will do.
What do you say, Henry?
But I was going to get ale for father and a few other things. We're finishing Sir Radzig's sword.
Come on. Throwing a few handfuls of manure is not going to take all day.
And it's our duty to defend the honor of our king.
So, Hal, are you with us?
Now came a different kind of choice. Less noble, perhaps, but no less revealing. The local tavern buzzed with talk of the German, Deutsch, who had loudly and proudly insulted King Wenceslas, stirring anger among Henry's friends. The man's house, freshly whitewashed and standing smug in the sunlight, became an irresistible target. Henry stood at a crossroads. On one side, the voice of restraint. On the other, the pull of loyalty, mischief, and youthful defiance. Throwing manure wasn't exactly honorable, but neither was staying silent in the face of such disrespect. It wasn't just about politics. It was about pride and choosing where he stood and who he stood with.
All right, I'll do it. But then you have to give me a hand with something.
What do you need?
Kunesh owes money to father and doesn't want to pay. I tried talking to him, but he wouldn't listen. I need more than words to get coin out of him, and I can't handle it on my own.
No problem, we'll back you up. Just as soon as we're done plastering Deutsch's house.
I'll be happy to sort out that drunken oaf.
Alright, let's go while Deutsch is still sitting safely in the tavern.
And off they went, laughing, half running, hearts pound. Henry and his friends, united in their mischief and fired up by loyalty, made their way to Deutsch's pristine White House with a shared purpose: to put the arrogant loudmouth in his place. Lines had been crossed, and now he would answer for that insult, with a few well-aimed handfuls of manure. It wasn't justice in any official sense, but to them, it felt right. A statement smeared across stone walls, loud and messy. A reminder that in Skalitz, loyalty to the crown still meant something.
So are we doing this or not?
Wait! We have to check that the coast is clear.
Why? The Deutsch is in the tavern.
But maybe you noticed after all these years that he has a wife and a son.
And that's a problem?
Aye, it is. Henry, you go lure her away somehow.
Why me?
Because you're the clever one.
Yeah.
As they neared their target, laughter faded into anticipation. The plan was simple, if a bit absurd. But someone had to make the first move. It fell to Henry to draw away Deutsch's wife, gracious, perceptive, and not easily fooled. It wasn't the most honorable task, but they weren't aiming for honor today. They were aiming for a distraction.
What do you want, lad?
I just went by the tavern, and your husband was in there talking nonsense. I thought someone should take him home before he gets himself in trouble.
What sort of nonsense?
Well, he kept saying that Sigismund was right and King Wenceslas is a drunkard, that sort of thing. Some people took exception, so I thought...
God almighty! The fool! Next thing he'll start on about the popes!
He might have mentioned the popes too.
Thank you for telling me. I just hope I can catch him before he gets into another fight.
Henry pulled it off. The door was clear, the target exposed, and the moment had arrived. With the path wide open and no one to stop them, it was time to begin.
What are you waiting for, soldier? Fire the trebuchet! For king and country!
For king and country, my ass. This is all good, clean, fun.
Nearly as good as having that traitor in the pillory. Nearly. Now that would be sweet.
That's for Sigismund!
Woohoo! Eat shit, Deutsches.
You bastards! What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Hey, Hans, can't you see? We're decorating your house for you.
It's like your old man was saying in the tavern about that traitor Sigismund. We're just doing what we have to do.
Horse Hans! I'll make those smiles off your faces!
Oh, I'd like to see you try. What are you doing here, Zbigniew? Hanging out with this boxy Deutscher? Maybe you'd like to try out the latest German fashion.
Fucker! I'll make you pay for that!
Just as the last of the manure hit its mark, a shout broke through the laughter. Deutsch's son, Hans, storming toward them in a fit of fury. His face was red, his fist clenched, and his eyes blazing with anger. Behind him, Zbigniew, the miller boy, followed smugly, always eager for trouble, always looking for an excuse to stir things up.
Stop right now!
Jesus Christ!
He's on his way! Down! Let's go!
Just as the chaos of fists and shouting reached its peak, they had to flee. The catchpole's arrival meant trouble far worse than any scuffle with Deutsch's son. Without a word, they broke into a sprint, scattering as the sound of heavy footsteps grew closer. There was no time to look back, only to put as much distance between them and the law as possible. The fight was over. Now, avoiding a scolding from their parents and making it back to safety was the only thing that mattered. He'd meet them at Kunesh's as soon as they could. Henry arrived behind Kunesh's, washed himself up, and waited for his friends to arrive.
Listen, there's this locked chest I need to get into.
Really? And Honest Trade not good enough for you anymore?
It's just that someone has something that doesn't belong to him, and I want to take it back.
If you say so. It's not skin off my nose anyway. I've got some lockpicks you can have. But if you get caught, you didn't get them from me.
Never heard of you. Thanks, Fritz.
Fritz, ever the reliable rogue, handed over the lockpicks with a grin. The next step was clear. He had to get his father's tools back, and he wouldn't leave until they were in hand. Henry set off, knowing the task ahead wasn't just about retrieving what was stolen. It was about righting the wrong in his own way. The day wasn't done yet, and neither was his journey. He got the hammer and nails, but still needs the axe. Henry can have patience when he needs to. He's not in any hurry. Since Kunesh is using the axe, he'll hang back for a little while. Wood cutting complete, it's time for Henry to take his chance. And now for the hammer and nails. With all the tools now in his possession, it's time to run back to his father to get some coin for the beer and charcoal. He just hopes his dad doesn't ask how he got the tools back.
About time. Have you got everything I wanted?
Kunesh didn't want to pay, so I got no money for those things you sold him. But I took them in lieu of the debt.
Took meaning he gave them to you, or took meaning stole?
If you didn't pay, then they're still ours. How can you steal something that's yours?
Fair point. Give it to me then, and here's some money for the rest.
Thankfully, his father didn't give him a hard time. It's time to go see what the lads want.
How are you, Henry?
Well, we sorted that Deutsch out.
That was pretty close, eh?
That old bastard didn't stand a chance.
True, but I'm worried that fucker Hans will snitch on us.
Well, let him. Then I'll snitch on him. And anyway, what can they do to us for throwing a bit of dung?
Good point. It's not as if anyone really likes the Deutsch.
Anyway, nice job at the Deutschers. Never a dull moment with you lot.
With that taken care of, it's time to complete Henry's chores.
Good day. See you later.
That's a sum I can live with.
Though Henry's chores weren't quite finished, he couldn't resist the pull of the training grounds. Taking a break from his errands, he sought out the wandering sword master, a man whose presence in Skalitz was as rare as it was valuable. His parents wouldn't approve, of course. They wanted him focused on the forge, grounded in the life they'd built. But Henry felt it deep in his bones. He wasn't meant to stay in this quiet village forever. One day, he'd need more than a hammer in his hand. He'd need a blade. And better to start learning now, while he still had the chance.
Have you recovered from yesterday's great wound?
It was nothing. Except Mother noticed and had a word or two to say about it.
No mother's happy when a son starts to take an interest in swords. Where there's weapons, there's death. The question is, what do you want?
I don't want to rot in this hole forever. I feel like I don't belong here. I want to live and see the world. But the world's a dangerous place and I need to know how to protect myself.
Spoken like a man. And as it happens, today's your last chance. I have to leave. So, are you ready to get stuck in?
Yes.
All right, I wait on the ground by the sheepfold as usual.
And so Henry set off toward the edge of town, where the wandering swordmaster awaited. Each step carried with urgency. He knew this opportunity wouldn't last. The master was a traveler, a ghost passing through, and soon he'd be gone. Henry was determined to learn all he could before that day came. With a heart full of anticipation, he approached the training grounds, ready to earn his skill through sweat, bruises, and determination. Finally, the master arrived.
So, can we get started?
We can.
Good. And since today's the last time we'll be seeing each other, you can show me everything I've taught you so far.
And so the swordplay commenced, steel ringing out beneath the open sky. Henry stepped into the circle with focus in his eyes, determined to prove himself. Blow by blow, he showed the master everything he had learned. Each movement rough around the edges, but driven by heart and instinct. It wasn't polished, not yet, but there was promise in every strike. The master watched closely, measuring more than just form. He was weighing potential, and Henry, sweat gathering at his brow, gave it everything he had.
Right, that's enough. I don't know about you, but I'm tired and thirsty. Remember though, train hard. No one becomes a master swordsman overnight. You have to work and work. And the main thing is to use what you've learned in real combat. There's nothing better than experience, believe me.
Henry proceeded toward one of the final errands of the day, and perhaps the one he looked forward to the most. He made his way to the tavern, not just for the ale his father had requested, but for the girl who waited for him there, Bianca. The thought of her brought a softness to his steps, a smile on his lips, and a warmth to his chest. Among all the other chores, the swordplay, and the trouble with Kunesh, this moment was something simple, something good. Picking up ale was the excuse. Seeing her was the reward.
God save, my lovely. You're looking well today.
You too, handsome. What brings you here?
Henry, always the flatterer, knew exactly what to say.
Your beauty, of course.
Oh, noble sir, I'm as honored as any simple maid can be. And apart from my beauty, what else might your worship desire?
I need ale for father.
A pitcher as usual?
Aye. Bring me a cool one from the cellar.
But of course. Here you are.
Thanks.
It's on me today. You can pay me back this evening.
Out of the question. Here you go. And this evening I'll have something more for you.
I can't wait.
Thanks. You'll have something to look forward to this evening.
You too. Hal, I've got something special for you.
Is that so? Now what would that be?
Your favorite Savior Schnapps.
Really? You're an angel.
I hope you'll thank me properly later.
You bet I will.
After seeing Bianca, Henry was elated, light on his feet and lighter still in spirit. Her smile lingered in his mind like the warmth of the summer sun, and with that glow still in his chest, he made his way toward the castle for the final task of the day, collecting the sword parts his father needed. The weight of the day's chores had all but vanished, replaced by the quiet thrill of knowing he'd see her again that evening. With each step, he wasn't just walking, he was floating, carried by the kind of joy only young love can bring.
I'll be with you.
I'm with you, Henry.
How are you?
Father sent me. We're forging a sword for Sir Radzig, and the Chamberlain has the crossguard and pommel. Father had them engraved in Sasau.
Right. They're here. The Chamberlain gave them to us for you. We looked them over. Beautiful work. I've never seen anything so fine.
I can't wait to see the sword. Just make sure you don't botch it.
When did I ever botch anything?
Where shall I start?
Ah, shut up and give me what I want, or I'll kick your ass this evening.
Right away, your lordship.
Magnificent. Shame I can't keep the sword for myself. Well, I better go if we're to get the job done by this evening.
Godspeed. See you later in the tavern.
You certainly will. After today's work, the ale might even be on me.
At last, Henry returned to the forge, the familiar heat and scent of smelted metal greeting him like an old friend. His father was already at work, waiting for Henry, and there was no time for rest, not yet. Together, they turned their focus to the task at hand, crafting a sword worthy of Sir Radzig.
Yeah, about time. Have you got everything I wanted?
I have charcoal, the hilt, and the ale. We can start.
Good job. Let's have it then, son. Well done. Right. Let's see what kind of job the master in Sasau did for us. Look at that, lad. Well, that's what I call craftsmanship.
What does the inscription mean?
Damned if I know. Doesn't look like Czech to me. Latin, maybe? Lord Radzig ordered it. Oh, this will be the finest sword I've ever made. Have you got the charcoal? Good. Then fire up the forge. We'll put it all together. By the way, someone paid me a call. I reckon you might know what it was about.
I'm not sure.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure you and your friends threw dung at Deutsch's freshly whitewashed house. He was here with the catchpole earlier, and it was not a friendly visit. What got into you, Hal?
That Deutsch was talking treason in the tavern about Sigismund and the king. He got what he deserved.
Got what he deserved, did he? You can go and clean up the mess you made and apologise to him. I have a trade to run. The German pays well, and having my son in the pillory helps nothing and nobody, least of all the king. You understand?
Yes.
Look me in the eye, Henry. Do you understand?
I understand.
Good. And we'll never have this conversation again.
So you think it's right to let traitors speak ill of our king?
The boy gets caught, making a fool of himself, and he still hasn't learned his lesson. So Deutsch spouts rubbish and war. You turn into a common thug. You might win a fight with violence, but you'll never win an argument. Remember, Henry, if you want to convince someone that they're wrong, try using your mouth and not your fists.
Henry didn't know it yet, but those words would ring through his mind for years to come.
The furnace is ready.
Right, we'll do the grip. I'll heat it up, and when I take it out, you slip the grip on so it fits exactly. You know what you're doing. Do it. Good. Once more. That's it. Done. Now file it down so it sits well in the hand. I'll prepare the guard.
Father, why did you leave Prague? Who ever heard of a master swordsmith making horseshoes in a village?
I had my reasons, Hal. And here I have your mother and you. Why would I want any other life?
Do you remember Emperor Charles?
I do. Life was good under his reign.
Better than now.
He built half of Prague and a score of castles, had a bridge made over the Moldau, and founded a university, and all without a war. He knew how to rule.
Better than Wenceslas.
Better by far. But Wenceslas doesn't have it easy. It's hard to step into the shoes of someone whose like is born only once 1,000 years.
What about Sigismund?
Do you think Charles would have brought an army down on his own people like Sigismund? No. Wenceslas may not be the equal of his father, but Sigismund, he brings shame to the royal name. How's it going? Give it here, and we'll put it all together.
As they worked, Henry listened to his father speak. Calm, measured words about the troubled state of the kingdom and the men vying for its crown. It wasn't the first time he'd heard talk of kings and politics, but something in his father's voice, something honest, perhaps even weary, struck a chord. These weren't just distant affairs playing out in far-off places. They were tides already pulling at their doorstep. The words settled into Henry's mind, lingering long after the forge went quiet. He didn't say much in return, but the weight of the conversation stayed with him. It stirred something deeper than curiosity. It sparked a quiet awakening. For the first time, Henry began to see the world beyond Skalitz not as just a dream, but as a place where decisions had consequences, and where he might one day have to make his own.
It's magnificent.
Indeed it is. The Lord be with you. My father sent me for those nails.
Good day to you, Teresa. They're ready. Will you fetch them for me, Hal? They're in the trunk in the living room.
Henry, are you all right?
Teresa was a kind, steady lass, a familiar presence Henry had known for as long as he could remember. They'd grown up side by side, shared seasons and stories, and though life had pulled them in different directions at times, that bond remained, and Henry was always happy to help out a friend.
That will do.
Those
Go and
nails
get
you
those
wanted.
damn nails.
Thanks. So, how's Bianca?
She's fine. Why do you ask?
Just wondering, will you be going to the dance this evening?
We will.
Maybe we'll see each other there. Anyway, mustn't keep you. I'll be on my way. That sword is truly beautiful.
Henry loved Bianca, of that he was sure. She held his heart with a fierce strength, and she made the world feel a little less heavy. But he was still young, full of curiosity and restless energy, and sometimes that meant glancing where he shouldn't. He had no true feelings for Teresa, no desire beyond the easy friendship they'd always shared. But still, he noticed her. In the confusing space between youth and manhood, even the simplest moments could stir thoughts he wasn't proud of.
Fine lass, eh? Now stop staring at her and come and see this. It's time for the trial by fire. We did a fine job.
I would expect nothing less from such a renowned swordsmith.
Well, those days are gone, sir.
You haven't lost your skills, though. Would you like to try it?
Sir, what good is a sword to a commoner?
Let him try it.
Henry had very few meetings with Sir Rads, and he was determined and excited to prove his worth. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite there yet.
You still have a lot to learn. Ask your father to show you how. He knows what he's about.
Learning his trade will serve him better in life, sir.
Perhaps. But who knows what the future holds for each of us. I see that you almost have it finished.
It just needs a polish, then Henry will bring it to you.
Excellent. Fine work, very fine. A sword such as this will bring honour to its bearer. What say you, Svan?
True, Sir Radzik. If I'd had its like back in Nicopolis, things would have worked out differently. How odd to find such an accomplished swordsmith working in a place like this. A man of his talent would have no problem making a fortune in Prague or Vienna.
You're right. It's a very long and peculiar story.
I'd be glad to listen to it over a cup of wine, but duty calls, and I must leave. Here you are. Learn from your father. He truly is a master of his craft.
I'm sure our paths will cross again.
He certainly will.
Once it's ready, send your son up to me with it. Good work, Martin.
Sure.
It's been an honour, Sir Istvan. Have a safe journey to Sasau.
The honour is mine, Sir Radzik. Thank you for the hospitality.
A long, peculiar history.
That was a long time ago. I might tell you about it sometime, but not today.
Will you teach me how to use it, like Sir Radzik said?
Why?
Well, it could come in useful. Maybe I'll travel a bit before settling down. I'd like to know more than the tavern on the green and the forge.
You know the trouble with an adventurous life, son? It can end before it gets started. I might teach you how to handle a sword, and then someone will shoot you with a crossbow as soon as you set foot outside the house.
You talk as if you've seen it happen.
A man my age has seen a lot. Being a blacksmith might bring no glory, but it has its benefits, like keeping your head on your shoulders. I want to end my days in Skalitz, here, beneath the linden tree and by your mother's side.
Well, so do I, one day. But first I'd like to see the world, meet new people.
Meet them or beat them?
Meet. You have to keep going on about it.
Then you've no need to learn swordplay.
His father's words came with a firm tone and a furrowed brow, warnings against wasting time on swordplay, against facing foolish dreams of battle and glory. But they didn't discourage Henry. If anything, they left him feeling hollow and frustrated. He understood the worry behind them, even the love, but it still stung. He wasn't trying to abandon the forge or disgrace his family. He just wanted to be ready for the world beyond their village, a world that was clearly growing more dangerous by the day. His father's disapproval didn't extinguish the fire in him. It just made it burn a little quieter, a little deeper.
A messenger.
He was in a hurry. What's happened?
Without warning, without even a whisper of what was coming, a great army descended upon the village like a storm, swift and merciless. One moment, the village was alive with the hum of ordinary life, and the next, it was pure chaotic carnage. Screams tore through the streets as people fled, desperate to escape the slaughter. Mothers clutched their children, old men stumbled through the smoke, and cries for help were swallowed by the roar of hoofbeats and war cries. But it was hopeless. There were too many of them. Armored riders, ruthless and unrelenting, cutting down anyone in their path. Henry stood frozen, his breath caught in his throat as the world he knew crumbled before his eyes. Friends he'd laughed with, elders who'd guided him, faces he'd seen every day since childhood. They were struck down in the blink of an eye. They were unarmored, innocent, helpless. There was no fight, no chance for resistance. Only blood, only fire, only the sound of everything he loved being ripped away.
Listen to me, Al. Listen carefully. Take the sword, go into the house, and grab anything else important from the trunk. Go to the castle. Hurry!
What about you?
fetch her and we'll follow right behind.
I'll go with you.
No! You'll do what I say right now. Give the sword to Sir Reddick. If anything happens, he'll take care of you. He owes me.
Terror gripped Henry like a vice, deeper and colder than anything he had ever known. The scream of the blood, the sound of blades tearing through the air. It was all too real, too fast. His heart thundered, his breath caught in his chest, and for a moment, the world ran into pure, paralyzing fear. But through the chaos, his father's words cut through, stern, unwavering. There was no room for argument, no time for questions.
Quickly! We have to close the gates!
Move! Come on, we're closing!
Move it, people!
Come on!
We're running
Come
out of
on!
time! Oh, Henry! Thank God! Get inside, quick! We have to shut the gates!
Get ready, people! Come on!
Mind this for me.
Are you mad? You can't go back!
Despite his father's command, despite the fear that gripped every inch of him, Henry followed. He pushed forward, driven by instinct. Maybe he couldn't change anything. Maybe he was too late. His heart pounded with dread, but he couldn't just stand by. Every part of him screamed to move, to act. And so he did. He pushed through the chaos, driven not by bravery, but by something deeper. A desperate, aching need to be there, to do something, anything. Because standing still while the two people he loved most faced death, turning away, letting them go without him, that wasn't something he could live with.
Get through the gates!
Come on, Hal! You can still make it!
Run!
Find a horse! Ride to town, Merc! Tell them what's coming! Warn them!
Run by the moat! There's a path down there! Jump down from the wall and flee!
Henry stood helpless, rooted in place as the world collapsed around him. Through the smoke and the screams, he saw them, his mother and father, cornered, outnumbered, defenseless. Time stopped. The sounds dulled to a hollow thrum as he watched the only people he'd ever truly loved be struck down before his eyes. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't scream. He could only watch as his heart was torn from his chest. The castle gates loomed in the distance, his last hope, but they were closing. Too far, too late. There was no going back. Grief clawed at his throat, but there was no time to mourn. Not yet. All that remained was the pounding of his feet and the bitter taste of loss as he fled toward Talmberg, the weight of everything he just lost pressing down on him with every step. He had to warn them. He had to make it. Because if this nightmare could reach Skalitz, it could reach anyone.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you!
He knew that voice anywhere. Teresa. Panic surged through him as he ran toward the sound. She was struggling, her cry sharp with fear, defiance, and something else, desperation. Henry's blood turned to ice as he saw the soldiers surrounding her, laughing, jeering, moving in. God only knew what they were about to do to her. No time to think, no time to weigh the risk. She was his friend, someone he'd known his whole life. And right now, she was alone. He had to do something, anything. Because standing by while they hurt her, that wasn't an option. Not for Henry. Not ever. He managed to distract them just long enough for her to slip away. Desperate to escape, he fled on one of their horses. He threw himself into the saddle, heart hammering, hands trembling, and kicked hard. The horse bolted. Behind him, furious shouts rose like thunder. They'd seen him. They were coming. He didn't look back. He couldn't. The only thing that mattered now was the wind in his face, the pounding of hooves beneath him, and the prayer in his chest that he could outrun death just a little longer. And so Henry rode, alone, wounded by loss and chased by death. The ruins of his old life faded behind him, swallowed by smoke and fire. Everything he knew was gone, everything he loved, taken. But he couldn't stop, not now. Talmberg lay ahead, a final thread of hope in a world unraveling fast. Behind him, the enemy surged like a tide, relentless and closing in.
Left. Talmberg is to the left, along the stream.
He didn't have a plan. He didn't have a future. But he had a purpose now, and that would have to be enough. This was no longer the life of a blacksmith's son. This was the beginning of something else. At least, if he can make it.